Okay, so look, post Bible study chat reactions. I had not been to Bible study since. Okay, remember I posted a live and I was talking about perception, and part of that conversation with the gentleman that joined the live about perception. I mentioned my journey through religion, and now I had not been to Bible study in over 10 years. I just recently started going back to church on Sundays, and I don't even go every Sunday. And I'm saying this to say, like, this right here, this right here, this is a whole different experience. Okay, so the sermon from Sunday. And so, okay, this particular church, how they do it is the pastor would preach on a topic, and then he would go through, it's not like, like a hit and go type of thing. He would go, it's like a series, right? A series of Sundays on this one topic. And while the pastor is preaching during this time, the Wednesday Bible studies are all surrounding the topic. And so this topic was taken from the scriptures, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 through 9. And now, I came this past Sunday, and they had already did a couple of Sundays on it. So the pastor had a couple of things they put up on the screen, and I really like this too. It's not like super preachy, but it kind of gets into the almost like that preacher feel, but it's more like educational with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't feel like a show. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like it's a whole production. Okay? It feels very real. And the people that I have experienced so far, for the most part, feel very real. Especially this women's group. And they divide the Bible study up. Women go in one place, men in another place, and children, have their group. And I believe they're divided up by age, like the older teens, the young kids. Anyway, so it was just women in that group, which made it much more relaxed, much more... Okay, let me just get into it. So when the women were talking, now I didn't talk. I sat quietly. I felt like I was like a particular energy was pulling me to talk, but then I also felt like I don't want to talk. I want to observe. I want to listen. And now my mind, that's one thing about me. My mind, I have trouble stopping my mind from working. Okay? Not stopping my mind from working. I don't want that to sound kind of crazy. But stopping myself from thinking. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. Like meditating and quiet in my mind. And, being quiet. But in my mind, I'm responding to these women. But I'm not raising my hand and speaking. I'm not chiming in. I'm not saying anything. So I'm just observing. And a lot of the people were speaking, like it was a lot of shared experiences. Like I seriously felt like, oh, she's giving this testimony, or she's talking about her. I know that. I feel that. This other lady was, I felt that too. I felt that too. I felt that too. And then even like it's not just giving the pain point, it's giving the pain point and how they got through it. I felt like this was the whole counseling, the counseling that I've been needing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt like it was a whole counseling session, a very much needed counseling session without me even saying more than like 2 words. Okay. I did meet a sister there when I first got in there, and we exchanged names, how you doing, and we talked. And one of the things is a sister check-in where you talk about your week, how your week went, and all of that stuff. So it felt strange talking to a complete stranger, but the energy walking into the room felt and I'm very sensitive to energies. I'm very sensitive to if somebody is off, if somebody is being fake, if somebody has some sort of aggression. And I've recently learned how to hone in on the different feelings from when it's somebody like personally they got an issue with me, whether it's they're just projecting it on me, but really they just feeling the type of way. I haven't figured out those two yet, like a person that's really has an issue with me, or a person that has an issue with themselves and they're just projecting it on me. But those two are still kind of combined, so I'm learning those two, to separate those two and to identify those two individually. But anyway, I'm gonna just say that as one, and I've learned the difference between that and when a person heard something, when they're more like a robot with a battery in their bag. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is sometimes somebody would say something about somebody would hear something about somebody, and so they kind of go at that person with that perspective. So they're giving that person negative energy. I don't know if you ever experienced that. Like, I don't even know you, but you acting like it just feels super personal, but it's like I never met you in my life. I couldn't have done nothing to you. A lot of times is that person heard something about you that they believed, so they have a certain perception of you, and that's what they're acting out of. I didn't feel any of that, okay? And it was, okay, if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It was about 19, 20 people. I could be off a few digits, something like that, in that room, women in that room. And I didn't feel like that at all. When I tell you, this is the first time, and now I did feel some energies like maybe somebody could have had some viewpoints, but I didn't feel like anything was personal to me. I didn't feel attacked going into that room. And I know sometimes when a person feels attacked going in that room, or like, are they talking about me? And they actually hit on it today. Is the trauma response. It's just you. It's your negative thinking. It's like those, instead of rose-colored glasses, I guess like fire-colored glasses, maybe. You just thinking negative, thinking, PTSD response, thinking that people are talking about you or whatever when it's not. I'm not talking about those situations. There are other situations where it is clearly, and then the conversation follows exactly that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I ain't feel none of that today. I felt like people could relate to me because I could relate to them. And so it felt like home. It felt good. It felt comforting and warm and loving. And as people were sharing, and I'm looking around the room, I didn't see judgments on people's faces. I didn't see any type of like negative responses like that. Everybody was just warm and open, and people were just being themselves and talking how they talk. And it was some people that it sounded like they were doing the businessy, how you code switch in different areas and you speak differently. It sounded like it could have been some people that was doing that, but for the most part, everybody was relaxed. Everybody was speaking how they speak. You could tell a little bit of nervousness here and there. That was a sister that opened up and shared and was vulnerable, shared her situation, and she was met with love and warmth, and it's like everybody felt her and everybody's heart went out, and like spiritually and energetically it was like a whole big group hug, and it was so freaking amazing. I have never experienced that, and oh my gosh, there was even a sister in there. Okay, this particular church I came to a couple of times, but I never been on a Wednesday, and I started out coming to this church, coming to their food pantry to get food, and I seen this woman here. She was helping like with the food pantry, and then I saw her in church a couple of times. I ended up volunteering to help out. Well, I took the step to like join the church. You know how you go up to like the front of the church and have the people pray on you, and then they take you back to have this class where you know, express that you want to join this church, and they let you know all about the church and stuff. Okay, so I went through that. Now, I didn't. There was some classes I was supposed to go to, and then after that is like baptism. So I didn't do that. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe these kind of like Bible studies are the classes, but they call them groups. I did the quotation marks. They are really studying the Bible. It is a Bible study, but it's not set up like any other Bible study that I've ever been to. It's not like just read from the Bible and then you have a pastor teaching, asking a couple of questions, but then they're doing all the talking. It's like the whole group, like everybody was teaching everybody from experiences and shared experiences. And the head of the class, the one who's was running the class, she was the, you know, led the conversation and everything, and she had the most warm spirit too. And look, when I tell you it starts from the head down, it starts from the head down. So I don't know I've never met any of these women before. It was a couple of familiar faces that I've seen around the city before, a couple of people that I've seen in the church, but nobody that I really know. But if anybody, or even like really interacted with much, except for that one lady, and she was always, you know, nice and polite, but that's what I was gonna say. She has I couldn't quite figure her out. I couldn't quite read her or figure her out. Like before, I would see her and she had, you know, like this very poised, she reminds me of a dancer, right? And I did go, you know, after one Sunday I helped out, it was around Thanksgiving. I want to say either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I helped set up that day. I volunteered to set up for dinner. I think it was Thanksgiving, for the Thanksgiving dinner they was having the next day. And so I kind of interacted with her a little bit then, but I still couldn't quite pick up on like the essence of who she is. And usually that's not the case. Usually I could just pick up and identify people, but I'm like, I don't know. And then I think I know what it is now. I think is while I'm looking at her and observing her, she's looking at me and observing me. And so it's like, hey, we go, you know, we talk nice and polite to each other, but that, it was just a weird connection. Today I saw her and I heard her speak, and I felt her. Like for a moment I felt her, and I feel like she is more of my reflection, or I've seen more of my reflection in her than I first realized. I feel like that was that guardedness, that was that protection, which I kind of mistook as standoffishness, or a aura of maybe she thinks she a little better than somebody. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to quite call that out because I wasn't 100% sure, because I just really could not read her. But then today, as she was talking, and she wasn't even, she shared a little bit about herself, but it wasn't in which she shared about herself that I saw her. It was her opening up to help someone else. And she shared her story to help another sister that was in there. And when she first opened her mouth and started talking, I felt a bit of vulnerability, and I felt her spirit, and I felt kindness and sweetness and empathy and love and like just good stuff. And then I immediately felt, suck that back in, put the guard up, let's get this out. You know what I'm saying? And I could be completely wrong, but that is 100% what I felt from her. And I'm like, in that moment, I'm like, oh, I think I like her. Like, yeah, I see. Okay, sis, okay. And it overall, this was just beautiful. And some of the talks, and it's a trip because, look, God, source, universe, the same thing as when I'm by myself and I'm seeing and I'm hearing things are coming to me. God, just for the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna say God, and it could be any title added to it. Y'all know what I believe and how I feel. It's all the same. Ancestors, God, spirit, source, the universe, because it is the essence of the universe. It is that thing, that energy that created everything and that's moving and flowing through everything. And that source, God, speaks to me just in different ways. But a lot of times I'm sitting and I'm receiving it. It's just coming into me like thoughts that I know are not my own thoughts. And is a bit tricky because the devil also works that way, and sometimes the voice can be cunning, and sometimes it sounds like it's on track with everything else, but it's not. But we'll cut that off. We're not talking about that. When I'm getting these messages in, or I can cut on the TV and then it'll be something that's spoken on the TV, or you know how like on Fire Stick it comes up and they have like all the apps and then it's showing an ad for some show or something. That ad will speak to exactly what I was just praying about, or the thing that I'm searching for an answer to. Or I can cut on Spotify, and I don't have Spotify Premium, so I get all the ads. And so I can cut on Spotify, and then the ad is speaking to that thing, right? And it may not be the thing that I'm just praying about. It could be the thing I prayed about last month or last week or whatever, but I hadn't gotten the answer to. But then it'll just come, or I'm walking down the street and it'll be just like a random conversation and that person will speak to it, or, you know, just anything like that. I could be scrolling and it'll come up, you know? So I'm sitting in here, and some of the things that I had been praying about, thinking about, like meditating on, just like really in spirit's face about, like, why I ain't get this answer yet? Like, I've been asking this, well, what is this? If this is this and this is this, then what is this? If this is that, how is that no to that? But then, yeah, like whole conversations, okay? And I'm getting answers while I'm in this group. And people are talking, just sharing their stories. They're helping out other sisters, you know, that need help and that's going through stuff and that's being vulnerable, and, you know, and while they're helping her, I'm getting messages. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it caused me to pause. Now, I still have plans. God still told me that I can have everything that I want, that all the things that I dream about, all of the things that I plan for, the things that my heart desired, it is mine. It is on its way to me. It's still going to happen. But my more immediate plans that I have been so ready to execute like last week, okay? Okay, now I'm like, okay, God's time. Not my own timing, God's time. So I'm like, just chill out. Just chill out and let God lead me, okay? Let God lead me. As long as I'm taking things into my own hands and making my own plans that is not in alignment, I may still get there, because God is not a liar. And God said that I can have all of those things. It's mine. But I don't want to take that harder road, okay? I don't want to spend 40 days wandering in the desert when it only really took a week, okay? And really, I feel like it's already been at least 2 weeks, okay? Not literally, but like, you know what I'm saying. It's already been too long. But it feels, I still got some things I gotta pray about. I still got some things I gotta pray about. But this definitely feels like home. This feels like I can come within myself. I can be myself. I can talk. I can get the help that I need. It feels like I'm not alone. I'm in a place where my voice and my experience can directly help women that are open to receive it and that are also open to give it. A lot of the lessons, a lot of the things that I've been learning was confirmed here. And it's a trip, because it's one thing knowing it, experiencing it, doing self-studies and going through these things and experiencing your experiences and coming to the conclusion that yes, this is right. Okay, I did this experience a couple of times, experiment a couple of times. Yes, I know this is right. This is the way to go. This is the things to do. This is the process. But then to hear it from other people, like, oh, okay, that was your process too, and it worked for you. Yes, confirmation. Yes, I'm on the right track. Yes, okay? And it's different hearing it in person, where you can actually feel people's energy. Now for me, I can kind of feel a little energy through this wonderful technology, through the phone, over social media, especially on lives, but it is just more almost tangible, right? It's more like right there, like you can just feel it and you can see it being in the presence, okay, of somebody else. Some of the things that I've even talked about in the video that I did before I went in there, okay, they hit on that. And I feel like ain't no way, because while I was sitting in the daggone church, the video uploaded 100%, okay? On that video, at the point when I looked at it, it only had one viewer. We are all sitting in the room together. Ain't nobody sitting there viewing that video. So ain't no way they could have saw it and then spoke to it. That ain't nothing but spirit. That ain't nothing but God, okay? Alignment, it just fell into place. And I started not to come. Something said to sign up. A few Sundays ago when I came, I signed up for the class. They was like, all right, new class is about to begin. When I got the message that it began, I didn't come to that class, which was last week, was the first week. But I came to this one, and then they alternate between groups, between weeks. So I'm excited to see next week. Next week will be the same type of group as last week that I missed. So it'll be my first time seeing that one. And they call that Pillow Talk. So I'm excited to see how that goes. If it went like today, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All I can say is thank you, Lord. Seriously. Thank you. Because this is what I needed. This is what I need, okay? And I know what I need, and I don't need fake love. Peace. Love you. My time is up. This is wonderful.